Well, good morning, fellow creators. It is 10:30-ish, Saturday, May 17th. I just finished up recording the big sketch pen review video, and I'm realizing that I need to get another cup for all my pens. So I think I'm actually going to separate the technical pens from the technicals and rollerball pens from the more... I'll put the brush pens in with the technical pens too, from the felt tip ones, because now I have 6 billion pens that I'm probably never going to use all of. Which jar, which can? That's the real question. Do I have a... Oh, I do. Good. Good old Talenti cups. Perfect for that kind of thing. Okay. That's actually wider. I think I'll put the felt tips in that one. Felt tips and other type felt tips. When you go to the store and buy 6 billion pens, it's like, all right, well, now we've got all these pens. All right, so the notes are going to go upstairs when I work on the edit, because I'm sure I will need to work on the edit with the notes. Now I'm back in the studio again, and I got to show you this big painting I started, because it is awesome. So the one I was working on, this long, skinny one, I've set aside for the time being. I might get back to it, or I might completely rethink it a little bit. I realized while starting to work on the darks, well, the main structure really, that I'm at a point now where my process is starting to shift. The way I've been using acrylics and teaching acrylics for the better part of the past 15 years has been fairly thick layers of paint and layer, boom, 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 boom. And while acrylics still are all about layers, I'm not going against that concept, because that's the core of using acrylics. My approach to how I'm making a painting now is really starting to change from the ground up. So this sort of started with Swampland Spirits from last year, and then moved into the more recent painting, Revenant Embers. And I'm finding that process for those paintings, which is more very traditional technique underpainting and then building that on top, is something that excites me a lot more than the process for this kind of painting that I've been doing for a lot longer. So I'm really at this unique point where pretty much the entire method that I have been relying on for so long is starting to bore me to the point where I have to fundamentally change how I'm working on a piece. So that said, I set that aside in order to work on something bigger and notably, I don't want to say different, because like the end result is the end result of the pieces are still relatively the same, but the depth of color and like the extra glazing that I'm doing is pulling up a lot more expressiveness, and I really am excited about that. So I took this tree from the watercolor sketching video a couple weeks back, and I was like, I want to do something tree-esque, something like this. I saw a piece from an artist I follow that was really fun with like a tree sort of branching out in sort of perspective with the roots, and I was like, I really like this. I'm really inspired by this. So I was thinking about that. And so I grabbed my studio sketchbook, which is just for like quick projects and things where I really need to hammer out an idea without worrying about things looking bad or worse or whatever. So I started similar, I mean, a little closer, starting with some stuff like this, which was a lot more similar to the other artist's work. And I had grabbed this stick of solid graphite stick, a 6B. Hi, I'm down here. A solid graphite stick, which at some point I took my Dremel to and shaved down to get a nice edge to it, which I found to be really awesome to get all kind of different expressive marks with it. And so I was using that, and I did the bulk of this with that, and I grabbed this other pencil I really like too, the General's 9XXB from their Kimberly series. This is a dark matte pencil versus the more shinier, like a regular 9B. There's probably, I don't know, like maybe a little extra, like a clay or a wax in here to keep it more like that. So I used that as sort of an upper layer to make this. And this got me super excited. So I started this painting late, I think it was like last Monday night or something like that. So let me show you. Okay, so you know it's going to be a fun painting when I break out the big A-frame easel. So this is large. I don't know how big this is. Hold on. 37-inch square. Why not 36? Well, I think the stretcher bars were discounted or something because, you know, who the hell uses a 37 and not a 36, right? So I got this started. A lot of the washy undertones, you can see a little bit of it here. This goldish color, which I think was primarily transparent red iron oxide. And I sketched that out. You can see a little bit of the tree here, and sort of like a, you know, mountain with some sort of a structure on it. Now, the other night I came through with I was taking just the tube itself, just squeezing blobs of paint on here and scraping it around with a knife, trying to get some really expressive underlayers with this. And then at some point I had done more of a standard sky for myself. Got this nice glow in here. And then almost immediately after doing that, I was like, I can't. This sky layer is also still going to be a first layer. I'm going to have to go over it again. Because the way I sketched out the tree with the paint, I had got really big, thick, bold lines here that I'm going to have to do first and then go back on top of with more sky color and back and forth. And then this hit me the other night, and it's frustrating me, but I'm also unbelievably excited that I'm frustrated. Because something that I have always sort of railed against is something I see in a lot of other professional artists doing in their painting, where they'll paint a tree and then they'll go back in and paint the sky, trying to like put sky color in between the branches. And I'm like, why didn't you just paint the sky first, you dumb shit? And now, with this piece, I'm realizing I'm going to have to do that. So everything that I've hated about seeing other artists do this, I'm like, I think I finally understand why. And it's because so you get the expressiveness of the tree shape and then just worry about the sky later. So I'm not really sure what I'm really going to do specifically. But this piece is really fun to think about now, too, because it's fundamentally just taking my entire process and just turning it on its head and saying, okay, go. And I'm so damn excited to work on this. So what I'm going to do today, so far, is start playing with the tree. I gotta start working that color back in, and figuring out where I want the more, like I can take the bolder lines here and branch them out and rebranch them out and hide that the best that I can. But I want to get a lot more of the tree base in, and then kind of come back. And I was doing big brush stuff. When I was down at Blick's getting pens for that other video, I picked up another one of these. I have a slightly bigger one here. I was going to get something like this, I call them the old reliable brush. It's just sort of like the largest standard size of a bright or a flat. But when I was looking at brush prices, and I'm like, man, brush prices have seemed to have spiked up a little bit recently. I'm like, okay. But then there was this other one, sort of the Blick Mega Brush white nylon flat. So this is the one I've had is a size 40. This is a size 30. The next one down. So I was using that on the sky, and I was using this one to get a lot of this base in here. So at this point now, I really want to just kind of go nuts.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
I really, really, really want to start using thicker, bolder paint. Since I spent a lot of time getting all these big knives and everything too. I was messing with that one. I was messing with my newer triangle trowel. And I'm just there's sometimes it's like you probably just hear it in my voice, just the sheer excitement to play. And that's really how this started. Like, I need something big, I need to just go nuts, and I just need to play, and that's where I'm at. Okay, I'm gonna quit talking, start painting, and probably check in with you guys periodically while I'm working.
1 week later.
Well, hello again. I'm not as energetic nor excited as I was last week. And now, if you have not already been able to tell, there was no working on the painting footage. The reason for that is because I, short of this upper layer here, did not work on the painting. As excited as I was, I had to edit last week's video, and when I went to do so, I found that I forgot to readjust manual to autofocus, and the entire first cut of that video was out of focus. So I had to completely reshoot all of the talking head parts, and as a result, it just destroyed any motivation I had to work on this piece. I found that the approach that I had going into the sky was completely wrong, which I talked about a little bit before. So I decided to do something drastic where I took some yellow and orange paint in a lot of water and just, you know, completely kind of came over the top of all of that again. What's interesting in doing that is that it kind of hid my initial painted sketch of the tree. So now I can sort of start over. And that's good at this point, because I want to get in a more defined shape of the tree here. And then I'll actually want to start really... I want this painting to have a lot more thicker paint on it. Thicker paint, mediums. I want to do a little bit more freeform stuff with this. So I think I actually want to, when I get to the sky, do the whole thing with knife work, because that's strange and unusual and different, and I like that idea. So I'm probably going to do that. Maybe. You never know. So if it's not already obvious, I have been kind of waiting for exactly when I'm going to hit record again. If you haven't already been able to tell, this painting is the embodiment of the idea of, oh, just change my mind halfway through. So as you can see, I've pretty much obliterated the original starting of this painting for something very different. Well, not very different. I mean, the composition's still the composition. Tree and mountain kind of deal. But the second I picked this big trowel up and started working with it here and seeing that I could make shapes that are really ambiguous, and I was finding all kind of different shapes in here, I was like, this has to be the basis for this entire painting. So it's all, at this point, finding shapes, unique things like that, different shapes, different new shapes, different old shapes. Like this, so I've basically found, so I'm like, well, this isn't going to be snow. I'm like, maybe it is going to be snow. Maybe I can make it like a glacier with a stream that comes down and a waterfall and it turns into this big thing. And I'm finding all these little cliff faces, and originally the tree roots were going to be more of the subject, but this, like, the tree's there, and I'm going to highly texture the tree too. That'll be like the only thing I do with a brush for this entire base coat. But, can you tell I've gotten excited again? This is the thing, like when you so yeah, the tree roots are going to be more like existing on top of these like little rock faces and things going all the way down. And this is, again, like, I can't remember if I don't know if I said this in the beginning of this vlog or the end of the last one, but my work is reaching this critical point of evolution. And to some degree, technique revolution. I'm not saying I'm revolutionizing art as a whole, but I'm literally taking all of my base knowledge of painting, but also taking the techniques I've been using for 20 years and basically almost throwing all of them out the window and doing some stuff that's just so wildly different than anything else. And every time I do something like this, again, like, started this piece, I'm like, this is gonna be cool, really big, and then I fizzled out because I started doing the same stuff again. And so, this morning it's like, and into the knife stuff in the sky, it's like, no, think of something completely out of the box, something completely different, something you would never do. And this is something that previously I wouldn't have even thought of doing. Also, having a nice big tool helps too. But so I'm the idea here now that I have started working all this in, and I'm trying to keep. I've used, in terms of volume of paint, I'm using so much more of a volume of paint than I would normally ever touch for a single piece. Like, I've already emptied a tube and a half, and had to get more. But that's why I go to the art store and have backups and stuff. But plus having so much paint. All of this is mostly still wet. I can still come in here and, almost still wet. But anything I'm working on, I can come in and scrape out all these other shapes yet, and I can kind of keep coming over top of it with more and less. And the fact that this knife as a tool for the sake of the whole piece is so large, it's forcing me to think in shapes, not in details, which is, again, this is nothing new under the sun. I didn't invent this. Very basic art techniques here. But again, something that's so kind of different than my normal routine that getting out into and out of those things is really changing things. So the goal, once I build up all this crazy paint texture, is really to then come back in and refine with a brush. But right now, I want that strong textural base for pretty much all of everything, which should, in theory, allow me to find some really cool things in the piece going forward. So yeah, I'm having a blast, if you can't already tell. But yeah, I'll have to kind of wrap this vlog up so I can actually edit it and upload it today. This is sort of post-weekend, but since it's a holiday weekend, I figured, screw it, I'll just upload today, because it's Monday and I'm off anyway. So yeah, this is also, it's really squeaky and it's really loose, because there was supposed to be a crossbar in this piece, but I found that the width of the crossbar was wider than the width of the stretcher bars, and it was creating dents where the screws were, so I had to take it off, which sucks. So this canvas has a lot more give, which is a little annoying, especially since I'm doing all this heavy scraping. But I really am enjoying the hell out of this. So yeah, final concluding notes here. So the painting I was working on, I pointed it out a couple of times. This guy, this in my mind now, I won't finish as is. This is a sort of mental sketch. What it's going to be is not this, but it needs the same universal ground-up rethinking that I have been doing in my work so far this year. Everything needs just an overhaul in technique, and at this point now, my style is sort of evolving a little bit too into something that, at least for me, I feel like these, you know, relying on these different techniques like underpainting and, you know, heavy texture knife work and stuff, it's probably going to involve my style in a lot of new and interesting ways too, which is very exciting, because my work has, I don't want to say that's stagnated so much, but it's become routine. You know, everything has kind of looked the same. And while this composition started out very, very simple, again, doing all this knife work and finding all of these shapes and things, it is becoming much more complex in the techniques that I'm using here. Plus all of that red undertones that are showing through in some areas. I mean, all this thick paint's covering most of that up, but it's just so freeing. And it's really exciting to share that. So I'm going to get back to work. I mean, I'm already working, but having, you know, a playlist of music in the background is also always very motivating to me, and I can't play it while I'm obviously recording, because copyrights and shit. So yeah, I'm just going to keep working this. I'm going to have to get on my knees pretty soon here too to work on the bottom of this, in which case I have to probably grab a pillow from upstairs.
Kinky.
But yeah, finding all these cool shapes, interesting ideas within this, and I'm so happy to be sharing this with you guys today. So this is going to be Ben from Cinder Studios, reminding you to keep on creating, stay inspired, which I'm sure this process is giving you some ideas for your own work, if you're an artist, or if you just like watching me paint and having a good time. Be sure to hit the like button, let me know your thoughts and comments below, and I will see you guys next time.